If you're anything like me, you might feel like gaming has hit a dry spell for the past 2 years at least. I mean, I can't believe that Fortnite is not only still installed on my PlayStation 5, but it's actually getting more playtime than most other games. And for me, I always look for new DLC, new games, things that might fill the void or gape that exists in my soul. And I'm usually open-minded. And one game that I was thinking of playing was Helldivers, just because some friends were playing it, they were looking into it, looked like a decent game, looked like something. I ended up just not getting into it because the gameplay looked kind of generic. It looked like one of those games where you have fun because you're playing with your friends. It's not an actual fun game. And I basically didn't really care. Also, you couldn't really get into the game because of server issues, but since then it seems like it's improved somewhat. Now, recently, what I've seen is something that makes me so happy I did not touch this game, and it's something that is yet again so common with a lot of employees at these companies, where for some reason they take their ego and their self-worth and put it above the product they're trying to endorse. Now, here's a little context. Recently, Helldivers released a new patch update, and in this patch update, they made some guns weaker, some guns stronger, and it basically changed the gameplay and the meta, as you would call it. Now, a lot of people that play this game hardcore, as in day one sweats, did not like the update. And here's the thing, a lot of people that play the game on easy, medium, the everyday Joe, the person who works a 9 to 5, then comes home and plays the game, isn't even really thinking about it, they don't really care. It's whatever. The game is still playable, but on harder difficulties, if you're really into the game, if you're really sweating, it now seems unfeasible. It seems like people have called out and said that, hey, listen, I understand you made these changes, but there's no real better options, and it makes late game, end game content almost impossible. Now, if you play games, you'll realize that the 1% of the 1% are actually pretty important, because they're individuals who will tell you the limits of your game. They're individuals who will tell you what makes your game and what can make or break your game. And at the same time, they're the individuals that are having the most fun with your game. And, you know, if at the end of the day, you're not making them happy and you just have a generic shoot 'em up, you're going to end up having a situation where you're just a generic company, a generic brand. I mean, people still play Titanfall because of the fan service they provided, as well as the hardcore sweats that play that game. Now, with this update, not only did there come a disappointment in meta changes, but the developers and employees of this company, the game studio, came out and flat out started mocking customers, saying that they need to get good, saying that they suck. If they want to have fun, play on easy mode, and really just getting emotionally attached to the situation where it's like, you're getting paid to work on the game, buddy. You're not getting paid to interact with customers and scream at them and say that they're dumb dummies. And what's even funnier to me personally is the fact that there's people who are unpaid employees, quote unquote, Discord moderators, that have come out of the woodwork as well to say that, man, watching you all cry amuses me so much. So not only do you have salty employees that are salty for no real reason, you now have a Discord mod coming out of the woodwork and just enjoying the downfall of your product. And the thing is, Helldivers was getting a lot of positive response. People were liking it. Because the PlayStation 5 is dry as a sub-Saharan Africa, they're actually playing the game. They're giving it a chance. And now, in the infancy of your game, you are getting so big-headed and so egotistical that you're actually disrespecting customers. You're actually saying things like, you need to get good, you suck. And also, weird things where, like, new updates would be coming, and an employee would show up and say, sure, buffs are coming, LOL, have fun with your crutches as they are now, the nerf is inbound. It's like, bro, no one cares about your insider knowledge. You're not Nancy Pelosi talking about insider trading. You are a guy who works at a game studio. You know what the master branch has. Oh boy, you did a commit. Congratulations. And now you're on Reddit flexing this and getting off to the fact you have some type of wherewithal or some type of insider info. And the weird thing is that they seem to be just so boisterous and so ignorant. And in my opinion, this is a huge failure by the leadership of this game studio, because they're allowing loud employees to diminish their brand. Because you have someone who is a game director, God bless them, they basically say, hey, listen, we want our developers to be able to communicate. We want them to be able to be vocal. We don't necessarily want them to be silenced, but at the same time, this does not represent us. That does not represent the company as a whole. In my opinion, if you work for a company you should basically just have your word against their word. You should not have an official company emblem on a Reddit. You should not be a verified company member. You should just be someone that, if you are a dum-dum as a company person, I'll just pretend like you don't work there and say, I don't know what you talk about. This guy who's disrespecting you, don't know who that is. Because now you have individuals who are verified employees basically dissing customers, making them seem like they're dumb idiots. And at the same time, this person who is here just on Reddit having a good old time diminishing this brand doesn't realize that they're hurting their company, they're hurting the game, and at the end of the day, these individuals shouldn't have this much power over your company, over your brand, to be communicating in such a way. Now, granted, there's no real way to curtail people's speech to that degree, but at the same time, you could tell your employees not to interact in this manner, and at the very same time, you can also have it where they're not representatives. They don't have a special icon. They don't have an employee here tag. They can just be jerks who work for you. I personally don't know what the company could do or should do. I personally work for a company where I am in constant fear of talking out of term, and I need that paycheck. I really do.
I need that money.
So I guess these guys are just a bunch of nerds who have a fat 401k and don't mind getting laid off, because for me, this is too much, where you're literally insulting customers and dismissing their feedback, all for the cause of what exactly? To not make changes to the game, to not do certain things. Like, from the perspective of an employee, I don't get it. Why are you so mad? As a consumer, you paid for the game. As a consumer, you want to play the game. As a consumer, I can see why you're mad. You're an employee. Why are you salty? Why are you arguing with people like you're a moderator on Reddit?
At the end of every single video, make sure you ask people to rate and subscribe to your content. It makes them feel like they're involved even though they're really not. And most importantly, make sure they comment on every single video. If you have to, disguise it. You know, call it something like the question of the day. And really make them think you're gonna really read it when you really don't have to. Ha ha ha!